invite you all to challenge yourself not to accept the version of Sikhi unless it's from Gurbani or from Itihas. And this reprogramming is going to have to be done quite quickly, because even things like going on morche down to the high centre of, I don't know, whatever, downtown Vancouver, shouting out our Nari and stuff, maybe that's not Sikhi either. Maybe that's not really what is in our history, you know. Maybe petitions to the UN aren't really part of our history or part of Gurbani or part of how the Guru would deal with something. And you're going to get told this is what you've got to do. Maybe voting isn't part of Sikhi, maybe we shouldn't have voting in Sikhi whatsoever. You know, you're going to have to dwell really deep down and work out, well, what is Sikhi then? What is actually the Guru's way? Because that's not going to get told to you easily. You're going to have to struggle hard to find out what would the Guru do in this case. You know, I want to give you an example of when I went to Mehrauli in Delhi. So we started doing prachar in India now, for those of you that don't know. So we go to tours to India, we do prachar at the local Gurdwara, not just the SCPC ones because they're hard to get into, but the local Gurdwara. I'll go to a place called Mehrauli, and if you know much about Delhi or where Mehrauli might be, I'm struggling probably here, isn't it? It's quite near the Qutb Minar, which is a majoritarily Muslim area, yeah? And that is actually where Banda Singh Bahadur, that's where he was Shaheed. In Mehrauli, you can go to the Gurdwara where Banda Singh Bahadur had his Shaheedi done. So his son Jai Singh was chopped, and his heart was pulled out of his body and put in Banda Singh Bahadur's mouth. Right there, you can go to the place where they've got the jagah, and that was 300 years ago exactly. In 1716, Banda Singh Bahadur was Shaheed in Delhi. When you go there and you ask about 1984, November 1984 I'm talking about, I asked them, I said, how many families were here? They said there's only about 19 families living in Mehrauli at that time. They got 18 families got burgled, 18 families probably had somebody raped, some of the women got raped, 18 families, you know, had lost a lot. One family did not. Why? How were they saved? They go, oh, apne ghar to bahar baithe sige. They weren't hiding, they hadn't gone away, they were sitting outside their house. But nothing happened to them. And do you know why nothing happened to them? Yeah, they stood outside their house. You probably heard this from me. They sat outside their house with their kirpana. All the Singhs are armed. They said, Aajo. And no one came. You see, the people that raped, the people that killed, there's one thing common amongst all of them, kair sige. They were all scared. No one wanted to be the first one to get killed. There was no taram yudh going on at that point. Okay, na? So for all that we blame everybody else for what happened to us in November 1984, very rarely have we done the Gursikhi thing of pointing fingers back at ourselves and saying, Appa kuch galt kita hai. This is something again our Panth is not very good at doing. But it is a sick way of looking back and working out, where did we go wrong? What did we do that was not as per our Guru's hukum? Well, we went Shastardhari. Yeah? We went Tyar bar Tyar, ready upon ready. Keep telling my kids the meaning of ready upon ready. Ready upon ready means you're ready now. And I was watching, I don't know, it might be funny to you guys, I was watching Jungle Book on the plane coming over here because, you know, my kid watches it, I wanted to catch up with the latest news. And when I was watching Jungle Book, because they done it with quite good animation, yeah, one thing you notice is, they're just always ready, innit, animals. Sher nu dekh lo. Look at a wolf, look at a sher, look at a jackal, look at these animals that live in the forest. They could be walking anywhere and something could walk into their house and they're ready there and then to fight and die. They've got their shastras on them. Akal Purakh has made them with shastra and they're ready there and then to die and fight. And we should be ready the same way. The minute someone knocks on your door, it could be the enemy at the front door and you're ready because you're always armed. And we didn't follow our Guru's hukum. And yet we go around on these marches and we blame everybody else because we're too weak to point the finger at ourselves and accept our own mistakes. And it comes from an insecurity. You're going to have to be brave about that because the people in our community don't want to hear you point fingers at ourselves. Yeah? Our Babbe that are walking around on these marches, they don't want to hear from you guys saying, well, hold on, what about our fault? We didn't have weapons. And even now, the message hasn't gone out to the masses that it was our fault, you to get armed. No hukamnama has come from Akal Takht Sahib saying every Sikh family should have 2 weapons per person, minimum. That would be the response that the Khalsa would have done. The Khalsa would have heard, well, these people got killed because they weren't armed. How dare you not be armed? Sabnu hukam hai gaya, 2 shastra rakho. Right? That's how you would deal with it in an army situation. That's how you would deal with it in any kind of like responsible situation. You would take charge of your own problems and solve them. So what I mean by the imperative is you're going to have to work out what is Sikhi and what is a Guru's message for yourself. And not many people are going to help you in that way. What I mean by that, the older people are not going to really help you with that. Because they've been programmed a certain way. And they've not been programmed using Gurbani and Itihas. They've been programmed by a Western system which has made them feel like second-class citizens, and they've had to fit in to survive. And even now they want you to, you know, my Dadi who lives in Nanaimo is a perfect example. Whenever I go and see her, normal question she'll have is, "But tu daadi kyun nahi banda? Siddhi Pak kyun nahi banda? Sona laguga tum?" You know? I'm like, where are you getting this from? Where is this idea of Sona coming from? It's coming from a Angrez system. It's a Farangi system. It's not our system. Yeah? It's foreign to Sikhi to be sitting there with your beard tied up in a pug that is basically a damala sideways, yeah, on your head. Right? It's just a damala that they twisted, and we've been fooled into becoming Sikhs that are not our Guru Sikhs. Yeah? And that's why we're falling around now. You know, this whole system of Vajja, it's an abomination in a way. It's not really Sikhi. You can't even play Rag Kirtan on it because you can't do the meend. If you don't know what that means, go and Google it. You can't twist notes, and not only that, you know, we can't even read Bani in the way it's intended. Judve Akhar. You know, most people don't even know what that is. Aajkal sangat kuch nahi pata. And that generation of people that are growing up, our elders, unhone sambhali nahi sikhi. Let's be honest about it. Yeah, they just managed to keep the buildings going. Every Gurdwara in Surrey, every Gurdwara of the world has pakka got one thing. What's that? Renovations. Every Gurdwara has got a building fund. Now, how many Gurdwara have a Prachar fund? How many have a fund for Naujawan that want to study Sikhi at university? How many have got a fund for those that want to become Punjabi literature PhDs? There's not one university outside of India where you can study Punjabi as a degree. There's not one university where you can really get our Puratan Granths and study them as part of a Sikh university degree. All you end up learning is some random version of Sikhi which has come from other people's writings upon Sikhi. You can become an expert on commentary on Sikhi, but not in the Puratan Granths, because there's no experts of those. So we're so far away from what we need to do, but everywhere else it's like, bahut vadiya hai, Gurdwara kinna sona ban gaya. Yeah, we're Amarta jaisi pujari hai gaye, we're just building buildings. So I don't want to start off in a negative way. I wanted to just show you the imperative for you now is that you're the generation that's going to have to solve these problems. You know, this is, and why is that like a good thing? You know, because you might think, I don't want a hassle, man. I want an easy life. I want these problems to be sorted. I want to have university degrees already made. I want to have a bunch of scholars and everything available so I can go and learn. Why don't I have these things? Why have I got to deal with solving these problems? Well, there's one more thing you've got to remember. When it's really, really dark, a little spark can make a big difference. Agreed? A little candle in a complete darkness can make a difference. Whereas if it's a daytime, like now, and then you've got a little candle, no one really cares that there was a little candle in the daylight. So here's what you are, innit? All of you have the option to be a candle in complete darkness versus a candle in the daylight. Where's there more value? In the darkness. So this is the best time to shine. This at the moment, your generation, is one of the best times to be a Sikh. because now you can bring back authentic Sikhi to the front. And you can really make it shine, and you can show the world what Sikhi really is. And then you can be a light in that darkness. And you can make a difference more than you could do if it was all sorted already, it was all perfect. So it's almost like you've got a chance, and you might say, well, I don't need to make my name, I don't need to be famous, I don't need to have koi nao na jane mera, you know. I've got bare nimrata, I've got so much nimrata, koi nao na jane mera. People do that as well, yeah. But there is one person we're trying to impress. Our Guru. Yeah. And the thing is, he's going to ask us, what did we do in it? Tin kam hone puchne ne, man bach karam. And in this darkness, if now you make a difference, then he'll really appreciate that. And there's a need for it. There's a need for it right now. So the imperative for you guys is to reprogram yourself using Bani, using Itihas. Work out what Sikhi really is. Don't get fooled by some guy's books about, you know, who came into what George M. Forrest and those people wrote, or Cunningham wrote. Or, those people aren't as important as like what the Puratan Sikhs wrote. Go and read by Jita Singh Ratnama. Go and read by Nandlal. Go and read by Gurdasi. You know, find out what he's really saying.